Hey guys, welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Coming to you from my garage today. We're going to get in depth, talk about a topic that's probably going to be a little difficult for me to go through all the details, so bear with me on that. But today we're going to dig in, way in depth, on the story of how I became a fishing guide. All the people that helped me along the way, all the people that tried not to help me along the way, all the adversity that I dealt with, the curveballs that life threw at me during this journey, and most importantly, how no matter what happened, the man upstairs had my back the whole way and made sure that I got exactly where I was supposed to go. So hang in there, strap in, it's going to be story time. Let's go in depth on how your boy became a full-time fishing guide out here on Lake Fork. I can't really tell you this story without having a little bit of a background to lead into it. You guys, it's an important part of the story to understand how I ended up in a position geographically where this was even a possibility. There's no doubt there was some fate involved. I did not grow up with ideas of being a fishing guide. Where I grew up, down around Conrad, Texas, there wasn't a lot of fishing guides. Those were the guys that were out there filleting catfish and white bass for everybody on Lake Conroe, and I didn't have any desire to do that. Tournament fishing wasn't really a realistic thing for me. I never really was into the big tournament fishing when I was a kid. They didn't have high school fishing and all that stuff, so fishing was just something I loved to do, but it was never a career path or a career option. It wasn't something that I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I had no plans or desires to get into the fishing industry. I had no idea how to even begin thinking about doing that. Now let me say this first before we go any further. There's no doubt that ever since I was 8 years old, and I prayed a prayer that said that I needed God in my life and I wanted to follow Jesus. No matter how far and how hard I tried to run away from Him, the good Lord will always correct my path. He will always say, "Hold on, I got you, son," and bring me back. And we actually did a really good video on that. Like the first year that I was doing videos on a regular basis, I will link that in the description. It's called My Faith Story. I would highly recommend you watch that, because that video has a lot of relevance to this video. Because there's no doubt that God had His hand in my life every direction that I turned. But we'll just pick this up with, I was in the Marine Corps. I used to be in the United States Marine Corps. And I got married while I was in the Marine Corps to a girl from the Houston area where I'm from. And when we got ready to move out, we're getting ready to get out of the Marine Corps, she was looking for a job. I asked her, please not Houston, Dallas, or San Antonio. I didn't want to live in a big city. And just by chance, she got a job in Tyler a few months before I got out of the Marine Corps. Now, at this time, I had a huge passion for golf. I was really into golf. I played a lot of amateur golf tournaments when I was in the Marine Corps while we were in the States. I was lucky to have a gentleman over there in South Carolina that was a club professional that really kind of apprenticed me for free and gave me a good letter of recommendation. And so my wife gets a job in Tyler, so I immediately, I think I got a hook in my butt. I do. I've got a hook in my rear end. Oh, Coach Sammy hooks everything, even your boy's backside. You can't make this stuff up, folks. That's what happens when you lean up against your fishing workbench. Where was I? So I started applying to golf courses around the greater Tyler area. Bear with me. This does go into the fishing. I promise it does. I get a job at Garden Valley Golf Course as an assistant professional straight out of the Marine Corps. I get there and I'm happy. It's what I want to do. I love golf. Everything's great. Not too long after I got home, my wife was pregnant with our first son. I was not making very much money, and 3 months after I got hired at that golf course, they had an ownership buyout that changed my financial situation. They took me from being a salaried employee to being an hourly employee, and they cut my hours back, especially during the wintertime. So I ended up changing jobs. I had a guy there, a member at that golf course that recruited me and got me into a sales gig that allowed me to feed my family. I had to make a choice, either chase the golf thing and leave the area and go to an area where I could make more money, I could be better off financially in the golf business, or raising my family here. Well, at that time, we had found the city of Van, Texas. We had bought a house here. We loved the town. We wanted to raise our kids here. So I did not want to leave. So I stayed. Boy, am I glad that I stayed. Another member at that golf course, Mr. Gary Cravens, took me fishing for the first time on Lake Fork during that time. I had always heard about Lake Fork. I grew up fishing Rayburn, Toledo, Lake Falcon, Lake Conroe, a lot of lakes down in the southern part of Texas that were really good. But I never got to come fish Lake Fork. And when I moved here to the town that I live in today, I did not know exactly where Lake Fork was. This gentleman approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to come fishing with me?" And I said, "Absolutely, I love to fish. Where are we going to go?" He said, "Well, we'll go up to Lake Fork." I said, "Oh man, that's incredible. I love Lake Fork. I've always wanted to fish Lake Fork. How far away is it?" He said, "Oh, it's 30 minutes up the road." And I was kind of in shock. I had moved 30 minutes from Lake Fork and I didn't even know that it was there. So he takes me fishing, and at this point the golf feels kind of, I'm damn, you know, my light on the golf business is kind of starting to dim, starting to fade. And so we go out there to Lake Fork, and the first fish I caught was almost 4 pounds. The second fish I caught was 5.5 pounds, and I was done. I was in love. It was all I wanted to do. I went out that week and I bought a plastic boat, a little 30-pound, 35-pound thrust trolling motor, and I started fishing every chance I got out of a plastic boat on big lakes. So now I'm in love with Lake Fork. I'm obsessed with Lake Fork. I want to figure out everything to do with Lake Fork. Now I don't know anybody in the fishing world up here. I don't know anybody. I don't have a history here. I just start showing up and going to Lake Fork. I don't talk to nobody. I don't ask anybody any questions. I didn't know. I didn't use social media at any kind. I had a Facebook account that I never opened. I didn't have a smartphone. I had a flip phone at this time. And this is all like 2009, 2010. I just knew that I was going to work every day, and then I was coming home and going fishing as soon as I could. And I liked to go to Lake Fork every chance I got. I wanted to learn every part of it. I literally drove to Lake Fork the first time I went there, pulled into the 515 West Public Boat Ramp. The first time I had a glass boat. And I drove across the bridge, and I fished the pocket on the right, and I fished the pocket on the left. And I went to the next pocket on the right, then the next pocket on the left. Like, I just started fishing. I didn't know anybody, didn't know anything about the lake. I just started going fishing, paying attention to details, and studying everything, and all like that. So I just had it in my mind that I was going to learn that whole lake and really break down Lake Fork and get a fishing and get good out there so I could catch these big giant fish that I knew swam in there from everything I've grown up hearing. Fast forward about 5 years. This goes on for about 5 years. I'm fishing tournaments on the weekends every once in a while. I couldn't afford to fish the big trails. I had a young family. We weren't making that much money. We were kind of just getting by, and I was spending all my extra dollars just to get to the water, let alone tournament fees. So I fished smaller tournaments here and there when I could. I fished an hourly big bass tournament. Sometimes I'd splurge on one of those. But for me to go sign up for a Bass Champs Trail or something like that just wasn't really in the cards for me at that time financially. I did really well in the tournaments that I fished in. I actually never, at the end of the year, I never lost money. I remember I used to track. I would look back at the end of the year and count up all my expenses, gas, travel, tournament fees, all that stuff, and I would look at how much I took in, and I never once went negative. Fishing those small tournaments, just kind of picking them out here and there, and that was always like a feather in my cap. I felt really proud about that I was actually making a little extra money. Used to tell that to my wife too. She didn't really care. It didn't really matter to her. But you see what I'm saying. So this goes on for about 5 years, and at this point now I've started to meet a few people around here. I was working for a beverage distributor. We distributed beer, amongst other things, water, energy drinks, all that stuff. But I would get involved with some of the tournaments around and get my company involved as a sponsor and here and there. And so I got to meet some of the guys around here. One of the guys that I was friends with, we had a guides tournament that started, I don't know, way back when, and I would save money every year. One time a year I would save money and hire a guide, and I fished a guides tournament with him because, man, I just thought it was really neat to be able to fish in a competitive atmosphere with a guy who used to fish every day for a living and has that kind of experience level. I thought that was a really interesting deal, so I enjoyed that. Well, one year, me and the guy I fished with, we won it. So we, might have done a little celebrating that night. We might have stayed up a little bit later than our bedtime. And me and this guy, we were real good friends, and we were sitting there talking. And he had a real good, successful business, and and we'll get into more of this later as this video goes on. But there gets to be on a 27,000 acre lake with as many guides as Lake Fork has. There gets to be some back and forth and some drama, if you will, and some he don't like him and he don't like him, and just, you know, some nonsense. But it's an issue because if you're a successful guy and you get more phone calls and you can take on trips, you need somebody to send your trips to. Well, this guy didn't really have a lot of people he could send trips to, and he was getting phone calls, but he wasn't able to distribute out to other guys the way he wanted to. And he kind of said, you know, my biggest problem is I got overflow that I got nowhere to send it. And at that time, I didn't have a boat. I was in between boats, and I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. The guy that I used to fish tournaments with the year before, he had gotten real busy with work and couldn't fish tournaments the next year. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to do that year as far as fishing goes. And this was in January, and he said that, and I kind of tongue-in-cheek, I'm sorry, this was in February, but I tongue-in-cheek responded to him and said, hey, I'll just go buy a new boat, and I'll take your overflow trips, and that'll pay for my new boat. And then, you know, if I run trips in the spring, and then the rest of the year I've got a new boat that I'm gonna, you know, that I've got paid for. He goes, man, if you want to, he's like, you got a lot of experience out here. I've had no problem sending you trips, and I'll keep you busy every weekend in the spring. And so I was just kind of joking when I said it, but he said, yeah, there was some adult beverages involved, and we kind of were like, okay, sure. And then the next week I went out and bought a boat, and then the following weekend after that he sent me my first guide trip. So it was totally by accident. I never planned it. I didn't plan on being here. God was working in my life that whole time, and let's talk about that for a second, because I've always believed in God. I wasn't a Christian since I was a little kid, but I'm not the best at being a Christian. I'm not the best at going to church, you know. I'm not the best at being nice sometimes. I can be very angry at times. I've got some things in my head from my past growing up. You know, I kind of grew up in a split family with an awkward relationship with my father that made me kind of angry, and I'm a very competitive guy by nature, so I'm kind of fiery anyway. And so I'm not real good at representing the Christian brotherhood most of the time. Like 99.999% of the time, I'm not great at it, but I do believe in it. And God used this passion. See, that's what God does, guys. He'll take something that you love, and He'll use it to get to you. And He'll use it to steer your life in the direction that He needs it to go. And one of the neatest things, if you watch the Faith Story video, you'll hear a full description of this. But one of the neatest things was I started getting crazy about fishing and driving to Lake Fork every time I had a chance. And my wife, the lady that was our daycare teacher of our oldest son when he was a year old, her husband was a pastor in Quitman, Texas. Now, Quitman is just on the east side of Lake Fork, and this guy's church was 40 minutes from my house. And if my wife would have came to me and said, hey, I want to go to this new church, this friend of mine, her husband's the pastor, and it's 40 minutes away. I would have been like, 40 minutes to go to church? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to drive 45 minutes and 40 minutes to go to church one way. There ain't no way. Well, considering Quitman's right next to Lake Fork, and she knew I was going to Lake Fork every weekend, it was kind of hard for me to look at her and say, I'm not going to do it. So I was really forced into something that I normally would turn down. I was forced into saying yes to it. And I don't doubt, anywhere in my head, I don't doubt that God this was His plan. He knew He needed to get me in that church, because I've never been a real big fan of big organized churches. I've never felt comfortable in them. There's a lot of things I don't like about them that I don't really want to get into right now. But I go to this church, and it's a Cowboy church in Quitman, Texas. And Mr. Dennis Chambers is the preacher. He's same age as me. Our wives are friends. They've got two boys close to the same age as our two boys. I relate to everything he says, and every way that he says it. It hits me right between the eyes as I'm sitting there the first time. And I was in love with it. And so we started going to that church every week, and we became regular attenders of that church. And it was one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life, going to that church on a regular basis, because it really helped me become a better everything. It's the only way I know how to say. I became a better father. I became a better husband. I became a better employee. I became a better friend. It really made me a better person. Like, it does for all of us when we get tight with God. It makes us better. And so now God has taken me, and by chance, my wife has ended up in an area that I had no idea Lake Fork was in. Then He took a passion I had for fishing and turned it in a way for me to grow my relationship with Him. Isn't that amazing? Like, He can just do all these things in your life that you don't even know He's doing. It's not for us to understand. It's just for us to believe and didn't serve. And now I'm working a full-time job that requires about 60 to 70 hours a week, most weeks. I know it was a lot. And I'm guiding on the weekends. I'm working 7 days a week. Because even when I wasn't guiding, I would go fishing. And not go fishing like, hey, I'm going to take my buddy fishing. Hey, I'm going to take my kids fishing. Like, I would go fishing even if I wasn't booked for a guide trip on the weekend to try and catch fish, to take pictures, to promote my guide business. As soon as I started my guide business, I started utilizing social media, Facebook and all that stuff. So I was bound and determined. I loved guiding, like I love fishing. I love fishing, and I loved guiding. I really, really, truly enjoy helping other people catch fish. I get just as big a kick as when the guy behind me on my front deck catches an 8-pounder as when I catch an 8-pounder. So guiding really suited me well. I wanted to try to make that work and make it a career. And I beat my head against the wall for a couple years. And I was doing really well. Like the customers I was getting were staying and they were coming back and everything was really good. I was catching fish really amazingly well considering I wasn't getting to spend the time on the water that the other guys do. But I could just see that there was no way for me to grow this business into a full-time thing at the rate it was going. It would never ever happen. If I wanted to keep doing that, I'd have to do it my whole life and maybe be a guide when I retired from my other career. Well, I've got 2 young boys that I want to spend time with, that I want to go to baseball games. I've got a wife that I do love dearly that I wasn't spending any time with. But I kind of, at the end of the second summer, after I did my second spring there, at the end of that summer, I took some time off from fishing. I just didn't go fishing for about a month. I did some research, and I did some soul searching, and I did a lot of praying, and I talked to my wife about it. And I basically said, I'm either going to make a push and make this a full-time gig within the next year, year and a half, or I'm not going to do it at all. And I'm just going to go back to being a weekend fisherman, sell the boat I got, get a cheaper boat, whatever. I was going to get out of the guide business. I was this close. I was this close to turning away and just quitting the guide business. I almost sold my boat and bailed out and just said it's not worth it. I've got family that I owe time to. I'm a little more hard-headed than that though. So I did some research, and that was the year, the fall, that the Guggen Squad was forming and kind of doing their thing and becoming a thing. And I saw that the online video deal for fishing was blowing up. So I talked to my wife, prayed about it, thought about it, talked to my wife and said, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to try and use the video format because nobody on Lake Fork is making videos. I want to try to use the video format to promote my business and grow it into a real guide business that makes, it's a good enough business where I can quit my job and this be my full-time job. And her being who she is, the awesome support system, she said, absolutely, go ahead. And I told her, I said, I'm going to do this for 2 years. If it doesn't work out, no, I said a year and a half. I'm going to do this for the rest of this year and all of next year. And if it doesn't work, and I'll be done. She said, okay, that's a deal. We'll be here. We got your back. So we take off, kind of start making a few videos here and there. Didn't really have a clue what I was doing. A few weeks into me making content, after I released a few videos, Lunker TV, Rob Turkla calls me out of the blue. Says, hey man, I make YouTube videos for fishing and I'd like to come fish with you and make a video on Fork. I need to book a trip with you. Well, I'd done some research, so I well knew who Rob was. And I turned around and told him, I said, I'll tell you what, if you kind of give me some tips on how to format videos and how to grow a YouTube channel, you just come fish with me anytime you want to. He's like, oh yeah, of course, man, dude, I'll link your channel in the description of mine. We'll help you. He's great. Yeah, we'll help each other. No problem. Because he's a great dude like that. So that was it. Me and Rob fished together for the first time that October, and we fished together a bunch of times since. I can proudly say that the biggest fish that Rob's ever caught in the United States was caught in my boat with me. He did catch one bigger than that in Mexico. But as far as the United States PB, I helped him on that one. And so now I knew. Now after talking to Rob, I knew that I need to make multiple videos a week. I need to make long format videos, not highlight reels. I kind of had some ideas of where to go from here. So we started out on this adventure. Rob comes back with me in November and he brings one rod and one reel with him back when they were working together. And we did something. Now keep in mind, folks, during this time, I'm working a 60-hour-a-week job. And I'm fishing. I've only got one chance, one shot every week to get stuff on camera to make more than one video a week. So I've really, there's no room for error. No matter what the weather does, no matter what happens, I have to produce fish catches on camera. So Rob comes back with Mike, and I actually went to my boss and I begged him for an extra day off, just a freebie day. I've been there for a long time, I always put up good numbers, I always did my job. I went to him begging him for a freebie day and he granted it to me, so I did get an extra day that week with these guys. And on the second day that me and Mike were together, something happened that I still have never, ever seen in any fishing show. I've never seen this anywhere, I've never heard of this anywhere. And this happened. Hand to the man, as honest as I can be, this is how it went down. I threw out, got a bite on a big swim bait, set the hook, broke my rod because there was so much heavy cover and the fish was so big. Mike threw out, he gets a bite while we're looking at my broken rod, he sets the hook, he breaks rod on the giant. I don't know how big these fish were, but we literally broke our rods back to back because we were around such big fish and such heavy cover on Lake Monticello that day. I've never seen that documented anywhere. I mean, here I am, I'm just starting to make videos and we just captured something that's never happened. That's pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, we broke our rods, but it's pretty awesome to be, slanging and banging with the big ones up there. So this happens, right? On top of that, just the fish that we caught during this time when I was working and guiding and making the videos, we'd go out every week and we'd catch them. That day that me and Mike broke rods on 2 giants and we still caught a 20-pound bag. I came back the next week with a guide buddy of mine, and we caught 30-something pounds. We go out one day a week, and every week we were going out catching these giant bags of fish and catching these giant fish on camera. I'm not that good. I'm not that good at fishing. We were putting content on camera that was as good as anybody on earth, week to week to week, as far as the quality of fish we were catching. And I'm not that good, guys. He is. I'm not. I made a promise to myself that when I made this YouTube channel, if it ever succeeded and I got the business I wanted and I got my dream life, I made an oath to myself that as I grew, every chance I got when it wasn't going to benefit me financially, I would talk to people about God. And I would use the platform to reach out to people for Him because I think that's important. I would also use the time in the boat when it was appropriate to reach out to people for God. And I try my best to never miss an opportunity to use the platform that I've built to kind of do a little ambush ministry. Maybe talk to people about my relationship with God when I feel it needs to be said. And I've gotten to do it a bunch. We've made a few videos doing it. I've done it one-on-one with people that I get exposed to because of the platform. But I made that vow to myself. It wasn't like I made a promise to God. I made that vow to myself that I owe that to God for my relationship with God and what He had done in my life. I owe that to Him. It's my job to serve others and serve Him. And I built this channel to serve others. I didn't really build this channel to promote my guide business. We started doing video content, showing people where we were catching fish, and breaking out in-depth techniques. Everything we've done on this channel from the beginning has been to try and help other people enjoy the outdoors, enjoy God's creation, enjoy God's animals, get out and enjoy fishing more. So everything we've done with this YouTube channel has been, in my guide business, has been to serve others, to serve God and serve others. And I think because I had that in my mind, and that's how I was trying to build this, that because of that, God blessed this business. Because we were doing it with the idea of serving Him and serving others, that God was ominous, dominus, call it whatever you want to. What I believe is that God gave His full blessing to this business because we were doing it the right way. And we were doing it with the right intention. So now we're making content every week, and literally within 5 months, my phone rings so much that I had to quit my job. I had to quit my job. I didn't have a choice. I had already given up and given away, or just couldn't book 60 trips that spring. So I made a decision, even though we were halfway through the spring, and spring was almost over, and we're going to be going in the summer, and some of the guide business starts slowing down, I just made a decision to go. Just go with it, man. There's so many phone calls. I was so busy. I couldn't keep up with my regular job. My work performance there was starting to suffer a little bit. I didn't feel like I was being very fair to them, so I took a leap of faith and I started my guide business. And I was nervous and I was scared. Wife, 2 young boys. My wife teaches pre-K special education, and she don't make a lot of money. That's a whole other, it's a crying shame. She didn't make a lot of money. So it's all on me pretty much, and it was a risky deal. I was scared to death, but I knew one thing that I had. I knew that I had the ability to just let all of it go and say, God, whatever's supposed to happen, you make it happen. I'm going to keep working as hard as I can. I'm going to keep my head down, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to serve you and serve others. And it's worked out. Literally, I had none of those days booked when I quit my job. After my last day at my old job, I ran 17 days in a row, 17 guide trips in a row. And I finally stopped because I needed a break because I was getting worn out. It was June at that time, by the time I was on those 17 days. My very first morning as a full-time guide, so I worked my last day at my regular salary benefit job. The very next morning, my first guide trip, I had a husband and wife that had never fished with me before at that time. We go out. That morning, she catches a 10.30 pound bass on a whopper collar. I hooked it in the top of the head beside the boat. It's a miracle how we got it in the net. I have no idea. There was water being slung everywhere. People were screaming. It was chaos. We get this giant in the boat, and it was post-spawn. So I asked her if she wanted to go get an official weight because she was excited, biggest fish she ever caught, blah, blah, blah. And she did. She wanted to get certified weight. So we run it into Lake Fort Marina, and we weigh it. And I was so nervous about everything and so worked up about everything. And then this lady catches this just once in a lifetime type fish. We get this fish in the live well, we start easing our spot, and we start running back. And you know, when you're on plane in a bass boat, there's other people with you, but you're kind of on your own. Like you can't really hear them talking. It's really, you're really in your own little bubble. And it was like a weight just lifted off my shoulder. I got like that fuzzy feeling all up and down my body. I can feel it right now. And it was, I felt in my heart, in my head, that God was like patting me on the back saying, son, don't worry, I've got you. That's hard for me to get out, I'm just going to say. It was one of the neatest moments in my life. It was one of the moments I felt closest to God in my life. And we have not looked back from there. It has been an unbelievable ride. We've caught, I don't think I'm the best fishing. I've told you I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I'm not that good at fishing. We've caught as many big fish as anybody has since we've started this deal. We've been really lucky. We've documented 8 double-digit fish on camera at this point, which is amazing. True double-digit fish is hard to come by. There's a lot of people that'll catch a fish and think it's a double digit, say it's a double digit, but an actual true on the scale double digit fish is very hard to come by. We've been fortunate to have 8 of them on camera and a few more on guide trips that weren't on camera, so we've been really fortunate that way. We've caught the biggest customer fish of any of the guides around here over the last 2 years, both 2018 and so far in 2019. I had a customer last year that had 12-pound 2-ounce fish. I'm about 99.999% sure that was the biggest fish caught by any guide customer in 2018. And this year I had a 12-pound 13-ounce fish caught by a gentleman, and that's the biggest guide fish, customer fish in a guide boat around here this year. So we've got some accomplishments. The last time they had a guides tournament, we fished it, and we ended up coming in second, but it was like literally 0.03 pounds that separated us on handheld scales. It was virtually a tie. Richie White did win it, but it was actually, I was announced the winner first, and then there was like a recount, and then another recount, and another recount, and then Richie won. So it was almost a tie, but we had 30 pounds and 9 ounces in the middle of the winter, and the guys tournament, like, I'm gonna put that on camera. Like, these things that have happened, filming 1 day a week, if you go back and if you watch the video Monday, you saw all those big fish, and you're seeing a lot of the same ones today in this video, but it's not me. I'm not that good. And here's the beautiful thing. Neither are you. Whatever it is that you want to do in your life, I don't care if it's, if you want to be a professional baseball player, if you want to be a Wall Street stockbroker, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to be. You're not good enough, but I know somebody who is. And he's taking open silence on his team at all times. But it requires you to do things the right way according to his rules, according to his guidebook, according to the Bible. You do things the right way according to the Bible, and you serve God and serve others, and you love God and love others, in that order, always above yourself. Whatever it is that you're doing, I promise you succeed. Let's say you're a air conditioning technician working for an air conditioning company. If you're serving others above yourself, and you're serving your boss before your own needs, if you miss the soccer games, if you miss the going out with your buddies, if you do everything you can to serve that man, tell me you won't succeed in that company. If you're married and your marriage is having problems, if you do everything you can to serve your wife and love your wife, and she does everything that she can to serve you and love you, tell me how that marriage feels. If you're always thinking of the other one first and putting them above your own needs, tell me how that feels. What I'm telling you is that if you disregard your own need, wants, desires, and concerns, and you follow Jesus, and you love Him, and you love others, and serve Him and serve others above yourself, He will fulfill every need you could ever imagine having. He'll go past you. I would never have thought that I would have one of the busiest guide businesses on Lake Fork in my life. I would say there's no way. I started too late in life. I don't have the experience. I didn't ever fish big tournaments. I don't have a reputation. There's no way I could do that. But here we are. Here we are. And I do have arguably the busiest guide business on Lake Fork, and I'm proud of that fact. I would never imagine that my guide business or anything that I've done, where I am today, there's no way that I could have seen this coming. And that's what I'm telling you today. And I know I've kind of said it, I'm repeating myself a little bit, but it's important to me. And I want to make sure I get this out, and I want to make sure that you guys hear this, because this is the most important thing I could ever do on this channel, is to tell you this. And most of you probably already know this and are aware of this, and y'all are wonderful people. Everybody that I meet that watches this channel is an amazing person. But what I want is for anybody that maybe didn't know, maybe you've never heard this before, maybe you've got your doubts, whatever it may be, your doubts, I want you to hear this. If you will read that Bible, turn your life over to Him, serve Him, serve others, love Him, love others before yourself. Whatever your dreams are, not only will they come true, they will be exceeded. Everybody that commits and goes all in on that process wins. Now folks, let me tell you, when you decide to take your lifetime path where you're trying to serve God and do things the way that God calls you to do them and be a Christian and follow His beliefs to the best of your ability, nowhere in that book does it ever tell you that your life will get easier, that you won't face challenges and obstacles to overcome. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It does sometimes get more challenging because whether any of us want to admit it or not, there's a game being played here and there's the other side that's trying to beat you. And when you start getting closer to God, that other side starts getting desperate. And I'm no exception. This was not an easy journey. Not even close to easy. Hard work and perseverance was a big player in this deal working out for me. I decided I'm going to go all in on the videos, and I'm really going to go all in on this business and make it work. Well, that was like September, early September. In October, and I just bought a new boat, just bought a new house at the same time, the same week. My wife, we find some suspicious areas on my wife. Turns out, my wife has breast cancer at 36 years old, 35, 36 years old. That makes it kind of hard to be dedicated and working at an obsessive rate every single day of your life, which is what I was trying to do. But my wife, being the incredible person that she is, she refused to let that medical issue, that diagnosis, interfere with anything in her life. She refused to let it interfere with my kids' life, and she refused to let it interfere with my life. She said, you need to keep doing exactly what you're doing. She told me that. Look me in the eye and said, you need to keep doing what you're doing. I'll never forget it, and I'll never pay it back. What she did, fighting that disease, and beating it. By the way, for the record, my wife is cancer-free, has been for a couple years now. She whooped its butt. Doesn't really surprise me. She's amazing. But what she did, standing up to that monster, staring it down, and whooping its tail, all while telling me not to tend to that and to keep doing what I'm doing. See, my wife's about serving others too. That's an important factor in my life, an important factor in my success, is that I married a woman that at her core is about loving others and serving others above herself, and she always has been from the day I met her. She actually, traditional culture says that the father, the patriarch, is supposed to be the leader of the family, but in a lot of ways, she leads me by example. She's an incredible person. But anyway, so we have our share of obstacles. So we're doing this. We're trying to be one of the best in the industry at something. We're trying to work another job. We're trying to keep the bills paid. We're trying to pay for a new house. We're trying to pay for medical bills. And our wife and mom is trying to beat cancer. I'm not that good. We're not that good. There was other obstacles. I had some guys I was pretty good friends with, really good friends with. In fact, you're probably seeing some of them in some of the clips in today's video. They used to come on and do some of the video content with me when we first started. But when we came out and started doing these videos, especially when we started doing them every week, a big portion of the old guard around the lake that had been here for a while, this was new. This was different. These guys were always trying to keep where they were fishing top secret, and here I was, letting everybody see where I was by the camera and all that, filming there. And well, if they happened to be fishing one of the same areas that I happened to pull up into, they didn't like it. And they didn't like me, to be honest with you. They got upset with me because they tried to tell me to not do it, to stop doing it. And man, I'm glad that I was hard-headed enough to not listen to them, because it's worked out really well for me. And it's worked. It hasn't hurt them. I wasn't doing anything to hurt anybody else. They perceived that it was going to hurt their business somehow, but it hasn't. If anything, these videos that I've done have just created more exposure for Lake Fort in the greater area, and all the businesses are benefiting from it, because we're getting people, I hear it all the time, people that have never come to Lake Fort before are coming because of the content that we create. And so we're not hurting anybody's business, we're helping everybody's business. And I don't want anything in return for that. They don't owe me nothing, but I'm just, don't be mad at me for doing something good. But it is what it is. And the bottom line is, you're going to get persecuted. If you're a follower of Jesus and you're trying to do things right away, that's biblical. It will tell you that you will get persecuted for doing these things. It's been bad, guys. There's been I've been threatened.
You're going to get your teeth knocked out of your face.
By you?
No, buddy. Sooner or later. Dude, I know at least 4 guys right now that are waiting to catch you. They're going to walk out and knock you down and leave you there and walk away. And it's your word against theirs.
Multiple times, I've had people try to run me out of an area on the water. I literally, through back channels, have heard other people have said that they're actively trying to run me out of the lake. They're trying to run my business out of business, trying to run me off the lake. They've said unbelievably horrible things about me on social media that have zero bearing towards the truth. And I have evidence of all this, as you guys are seeing a little piece of right now. I've got tons of evidence of all the stuff these guys have done to try and knock me down, to try and tear me down. And here's the deal. I want to build a big business, and I want to have a successful business. I want to help others along the way. And yes, I do want the most successful business, like I think most people do, whatever they're doing. The difference is I want to have a bigger building because I built a bigger building. And these guys are all trying to tear each other's buildings down, trying to tear my building down too. Like, they want to have the biggest building because they tore everybody else's down. I don't want to tear theirs down. I want to build theirs too. If I can, I'll build mine and yours, if you just let me. But, that's the way it is. And going through all this, at the end of the day, when I sit down and when I get to it good, state of mind and I think about it, nobody's put me on a cross. So I haven't been through anything yet. Our Lord and Savior was hung for his beliefs and for doing the right thing and for serving others. Hung from a cross. Sent to die. So if he can do that, surely I can manage this. And that's what keeps me going. And that's what makes me not hesitate to keep doing what I think is right no matter what everybody says. If in my heart, in my head, I can get it right with God and I can get it right with my family, it feels like the right thing to do, I'm going to do it. No matter who likes it or doesn't like it or how much they threaten me or whatever they want to do. You can't scare me. I have a bigger power backing me up than you could ever think about coming against. That's where I am on that subject. Another way, just faith in God had his hand on everything. My buddy Chris Blackman was a customer of mine on the weekend sometimes when I was doing it part-time. Before I started making any videos, the year before that, I was on a really fun bike. Chris was part of it. He kept booking week after week. We're catching fire-out fish. Like, we're just catching like crazy. Well, after one of these insane days where we were catching these fish, and actually caught 2 at a time on one glide bait, a 7-pounder and a 4-pounder, on the same glide bait on a cast, and that was the last cast of the day. Chris's mom was so bummed that he showed up the next week for a trip and handed me an old GoPro Hero. And he said, "Hey man, I'm going to give you this. You have to start documenting what's going on out here in your boat." And that camera, literally, for more than a year, for like the first couple of years, was what filmed every episode of Your Lake for God. I'm not that good. Hey, so I want to thank you guys, each and every one of y'all, for watching this video today. I live an amazing, amazing life. I'm so lucky to wake up every day and do what I do. And I owe each and every one of you a big amount of gratitude for all that. So thank you guys so much for what y'all do to help us. And I love y'all. I truly love every one of you guys. And more than that, as much as I love y'all and appreciate y'all, I want to take this time right now to thank God. Because my life went down a rough road before I got here. And you'll hear some of that if you watch the faith video. But my life has not been easy. I'm not a perfect person. I'm flawed. I'm as flawed as anybody you'll ever meet. But despite all that, the God that I love and believe in, our God, he's great enough that he can take a no-count, sorry son gun like me and get me corrected and get me on a path that leads me beyond my wildest dreams. Now, I love God so much, and I want each and every one of you to have the same type of affection and love for our Lord and Savior that I have. I hope if one person hears this and they can help me get closer to God, that's all this is about. That's all this whole video is about. I know it's been a really long video. Thank you guys. I think it might be the longest video I've ever made. Thank you guys for staying with me, more importantly. Lord, thank you for everything that you have done in my life. Thank you for everything that I know you will continue to do in my life. And let me lead this thing the right way and reach people for you. Continue to do the right thing by serving you and serving others above myself.